Hello and welcome to Buccaneering Media. Today on the show, I want to take a look back with the first How to Train Your Dragon movie because How to Train Your Dragon 3 is just around the corner. Going into How to Train Your Dragon 1, I didn't know what to think because it had been a long time since I'd seen the first one actually. And my opinions of animated movies have been changing a lot recently, and I was wondering if I was going to be disappointed. But I can confirm I was not, in that I absolutely love this movie. Now, the animation is great. The voice acting is also great. The score is superb. But where I think every animated movie should shine is its story. And that's because you don't have a lot of other things to make up for a weak story in an animated movie unless it's a heavily comedic animated movie. Because the animation and the voice acting and the music is all kind of a vessel to deliver this story to us. But How to Train Your Dragon doesn't fail. The story is wonderful. I loved every second of it. I ate it up. To make myself a little bit more clear, I want to define a children's movie and a family movie. Now, a children's movie is aimed at a child in just about every single way. The plot and the characters. Those are aimed towards a child, and in the end, when we mature, they don't really hold up all that well. That's why I don't feel like many of us go back and rewatch certain Curious Georges and Clifford the Big Red Dogs if we do not have to. Family movies are different in the sense that they have multiple layers where characters from a child's point of view could be very alluring to them, and they could like them from their childish perspective, but as they mature, those multiple layers start to show depending on the different stages of our life. So when a child and an adult watches a movie, they can both enjoy it for different reasons, but still take away the same ideas that were inserted into the movie for it to be a fun, serious story, kind of like this movie. Now, of course, there are a couple of exceptions in a family movie. There are going to be comedy relief characters or comedy characters aimed right towards kids, but that's how I define a children's movie and a family movie. Being that this is a family movie, that's what it's about. It's about family, or more specifically, relationships. And the relationships we share with ourselves, and the relationships we share with others. You can look at Hiccup's relationship that he has with himself and try to figure out his place in the Viking world that he lives in. And you can also look at Hiccup's relationship with his father and the relationship that he has with Toothless, and how those two relationships are conflicting, and how that Toothless is his own antagonist in this movie. Yes, of course, we have the big epic fight in the end, but the movie helps us suspend our disbelief just enough for us to watch the very end battle, but also take in that that's not the overarching antagonist of the movie. The overarching antagonist has to do with Toothless fighting a nature within himself and the sort of nature that was forced onto him to be this way, as in a nurture. So I guess you can say it's nature versus nurture. That's the story of this movie. And it is delivered in such a charming way that I can't help but love every minute and every joke that lands. And on top of this very well written story, very well played out story, it has an epic spectacle that I feel that some animated movies try and attempt to do, because who doesn't love some epic spectacle in their movies? But their climaxes are just a little bit too short to really achieve that. And this has patterns of spectacle here, here, and here that really build up to the end the climax in this movie, and it makes the climax feel deserved and the resolution feel deserved. And that's why when I use the word epic, I don't use it lightly. And when I use the word epic, I'm going to think of this movie more often because of it. With all of that being said, I will say that this movie is absolutely wonderful. And I don't like to rate movies, but if I had to give this movie a retrospective sort of rating, not so much a thumbs up or thumbs down, which is what I like to stick to, I would say that this movie holds up for our current times. And that if you're looking to go see How to Train Your Dragon 3 this coming weekend or the following weekend, I think you should give the first one a rewatch. Now, we'll see about the second one in my next looking back on films. But that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining me.